Welcome to the Argus IQ Daily Threat Brief for July 15th, 2026. The threat environment is shifting from periodic vulnerability response toward continuous exposure reduction as artificial intelligence compresses the time from disclosure to exploitation and third party dependencies increase the impact of shared failures. At the same time, phishing resistant identity controls are becoming an operational deadline, with passkeys and FIDO2 moving ahead while legacy SMS and voice authentication face retirement. Today, we will examine active exploitation, software supply chain compromise, identity abuse, strategic resilience, and the vulnerabilities requiring immediate attention. The most urgent operational threat is the Russian Federal Security Service 16th Center campaign against Internet exposed routers and switches. the, the group is abusing weak or default SMNP credentials and Cisco Smart Install, including Cisco Smart Install Vulnerability CVE 2018-0171. The most urgent operational threat is the Russian Federal Security Service 16th Center campaign against successful access can expose device configurations, reveal network topology, support persistence, and enable preparation for disruption against telecommunications, government, financial, and critical infrastructure environments. Defenders should disable smart install, restrict management interfaces to dedicated administrative networks, replace shared SNMP community strings with unique SNMP version 3 credentials, and review configurations for unauthorized changes. It's been long since we opened it. This campaign illustrates why network appliances must be treated as high value computing systems rather than passive infrastructure. This campaign illustrates why network appliances must be treated as high value computing systems rather than passive infrastructure. This campaign illustrates why network appliances must be treated as high value computing systems. The network ID that will signal that you need to egress buffer. So we can now contextually address network appliances using customized Gigite and Bashlight binaries, converting exposed systems into distributed denial of service botnet nodes. Resolution decathalia never treated over breast extends beyond bandwidth consumption. I gotta read this email. A new retinol telling new readers stick to gonomize you. A compromised artificial intelligence platform may contain source code, model credentials, cloud tokens, internal prompts, and connections to data repositories. Organizations using Langflow should inventory internet facing installations, apply available fixes, remove unnecessary exposure, and investigate unexpected child processes, shell activity, outbound scanning, and unusual denial of service traffic. Against the know the SPLC. If a user execute organics can prick in these reports are facing a more consequential intrusion chain involving CVE 2026 45659 and CVE 2026 56164. The Mysisong will finally meet. Exploitation can provide remote code execution, enable web shell persistence, expose IES machine keys, facilitate credential theft, and support lateral movement into identity and file services. That's what Suntright crazy. With some Instruct 7 tree neutrals ally, it can therefore become an entry point into an entire enterprise. Those pre-guided ins, web-led machine keys should hunt for new administrator accounts, suspicious worker process activity, unusual PowerShell or command shell execution, unexpected web files, anomalous deserialization behavior, and outbound connections from application servers. The prosaics and containment should be followed by secret rotation because machine keys, service credentials, and application tokens may have been exposed. The odd customs down underscores the async API NPM compromise demonstrates a different form of systemic risk. The ANC system demonstrates a different form of systemic risk. Five releases were affected with approximately 2.9 million weekly downloads across the package ecosystem. The extension web application sovereignty limits restorations are spread horizons, malicious installation behavior exposed developer workstations, and continuous integration runners to credential theft, remote access, and persistence. The out customs don underscores the async API npm installation behavior exposed developer workstations and continuous integration runners to credential theft, remote access and persistence, file system content identifiers, and command and control infrastructure at 85.137.53.71. Add deep Qtly treats the minee. Organizations should remove the affected releases, rebuild hosts and runners from trusted images, rotate tokens and package signing credentials, and inspect repository histories and build logs for unauthorized releases. In my company, these varied. Package installation must be treated as executable code, not as a harmless administrative action. Concludes. Response to operational devices focused campaigns are adding another layer of pressure. Naval resignations remind the pattern. Business email compromise, executive impersonation, OAuth enumeration, fake vendor repositories, and borrowed grab info stealer delivery are combining social engineering with technical account abuse. Good morning. Come campaigns redirect victims through line messaging, while others probe Microsoft Entra ID accounts or imitate legitimate GitHub projects. Make it exercise. Phishing resistant authentication reduces the value of stolen passwords, but it does not eliminate recovery fraud, session theft, malicious consent, compromised endpoints, or attacks against identity providers. Some campaigns trying to order reach my recall is stats. Deliver to expected of registrations remain essential. Stay see the strategic issue is not simply how many vulnerabilities are published. It is whether a weakness creates a credible path to a business critical outcome. Exposure management should rank assets by business importance, internet reachability, exploit availability, attack path position, identity privileges, data sensitivity, and the strength of available compensating controls. A lower severity weakness on an exposed authentication gateway may deserve faster action than a higher severity issue on an isolated development server. The stratection is not simply how. This model is particularly important for banks, insurers, healthcare providers, and other organizations where availability and trust are inseparable from security. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Artificial intelligence is accelerating both vulnerability discovery and attack chain construction. Frontier models can assist with code analysis, exploit generation, target enumeration, and the adaptation of public proof of concept material. I feel this entire attack chain is using in noticeable changes in the time available for aggregated and indirect long terms. By town, let's say, I feel that this will provide organizations should supplement routine scanning with continuous external attack surface monitoring, exploitability intelligence, breach and attack simulation, and control testing of chained techniques. The objective is to determine whether a vulnerability can produce meaningful compromise rather than waiting for a real attacker to demonstrate the answer. Third party concentration creates a parallel resilience problem. Yes, America ye gender resilience creates. Shared cloud platforms manage service providers, payment processors, core banking systems, and identity services can create correlated failure across many institutions. Yes, I could share it exactly as per not. Supplier reviews should therefore require current software bills of materials, dependency maps, vulnerability notification procedures, incident telemetry, recovery commitments, and defined response obligations. Take the money's bechu althi povand, solviti the jump. I feel that was quite a really good will score. Each critical dependency needs a credible exit strategy, a degraded service procedure, emergency shutdown criteria, and exercises that test manual alternatives. Content identity modernization deserves executive ownership. Each critical dependency needs a credible exit strategy, a degraded service procedure, emergency shutdown criteria, and agile change. Microsoft Intra ID is expected to make passkeys the default authentication method from September 2026 and retire native SMS and voice multi factor authentication in February 2027. I feel that was quite a really good Wolf's quote. Desto cooks and also chatting the chat as we dogged in the bulls. Nepremis the Shawlais migration planning must cover workforce enrollment, privileged accounts, contractors, service identities, account recovery, device replacement, shared workstations, and applications that cannot yet process modern credentials. Perfecting this migration binding species, hardware security keys should remain available for high risk schedule the Kotlin accounts. Migration planning must cover workforce enrollment, privileged accounts, contractors, service identities, account recovery, risk personnel, and recovery scenarios. Passkeys are a major improvement, but they are not a complete identity strategy. Pasenio Ross should say siphoning is running. So there's Kirkweed. Migration planning must cover workforce enrollment, privileged accounts, contractors, service identities, account recovery, and an attacker who compromises an identity provider may bypass controls at scale. Crook sounds fitting. Ha 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 ha. Strong device posture checks, conditional access, session monitoring, token binding or protection out of band recovery safeguards, and alerts for abnormal application consent should accompany deployment. This is DI repeating. The same principle applies to artificial intelligence agents. The same principle applies to artificial intelligence agents. Should receive only the tools and data necessary for a defined task, operate in isolated environments, and produce logs that record prompts, retrieved context, tool calls, and decisions. Dear Lives, Crook sounds fitting. Triple 80 or wisest TIYZ FOPY, not treated as unusual model behavior. Triple 80. Social telemetry provides a limited direct cyber threat signal in this reporting period, and entertainment, sports, religious, and consumer activity should not be mistaken for threat intelligence. Said this way has been a poisonous. The useful signals are narrower and more contextual and social interesting insights into the deceased telegazia. Useful signals are narrower and more contextual. Sometimes events in the Baidara based on Plus Ridge to Iran and the Falklands could become useful themes for influence opportunistic targeting. Social telemetry provides a limited direct cyber threat signal in this reporting period, and entertainment, sports, religious, and consumer activity should not be mistaken for threat intelligence. Those narratives should be correlated with infrastructure, actor behavior, campaign timing, victimology, complete academic management, really. Trusted threat reporting before they influence operational decisions. Uh, The broader social pattern is that attackers continue to exploit urgency, authority, and familiarity. Executive requests involving payments, credential resets, supplier changes, or urgent document access remain effective because they resemble ordinary business activity. Crying. Executive requests involving payments, credential resets, supplier changes, or urgent document access remain effective because they resemble ordinary business activity. Messaging applications can make reediting hardware contribute to the scaffold, but it is not exclusive. Don't try to navigate remains unsecure. Executive requests involving payments, credential resets, supplier changes, or urgent document access remain effective because they resemble ordinary business activity about suspicious grammar. Then I say which works with payment changes through an independently known channel, confirm executive requests outside the originating conversation, and report unexpected authentication prompts or package updates. I can't believe I've been so excited by this recent long term support. Organizations should also monitor public code repositories, package registries, domain registrations, and professional networking channels for impersonation of suppliers and internal teams. I can't believe I've been so excited by this recent long term support. Organizations should also monitor public code repositories, package registries, and professional networking channels for impersonating gatherings. My whole body responds to steering, but hey, we can repeat we are esticating this year is correct. Next day, my wife said, I'm laking up with Stacy. I'm considering this a Yonolasa and Odagotels social to Fichni to continue derivation treat set. Organizations should also monitor public code regulations and package registries and professional interest domains. A spike in fake vendor domains matters more when it aligns with OAuth consent attempts, new mailbox forwarding rules, credential phishing, or malicious package publication. Decrease intensity. Without that correlation, high volume online discussion remains background noise rather than actionable intelligence. Now for the vulnerability deep dive. If CVEs make your eyes glaze over, feel free to zone out, but your SOC team is definitely listening. Sonic Wall SMA 1000 Vulnerability CVE 2026 15409 is an unauthenticated server side request forgery 0 day under active exploitation with a CVSS score of 10.0. Internet exposed appliances should be isolated immediately behind trusted administrative networks with remote access limited through controlled VPN paths or allow lists. Apply the vendor fix as soon as it is available, disable unnecessary services, preserve forensic logs, and review requests to internal addresses, administrative interfaces, and unexpected external destinations. Adobe Cold Fusion 2025 and 2023 have multiple critical weaknesses without patches currently identified in the supplied advisory data. These include CVE 2026 48319, CVE 2026 48324, CVE 2026 48325, CVE 2026 48284, CVE 2026 48322, CVE 2026 48321, and CVE 2026 48327. The affected classes include remote code execution, authentication bypass, authorization failure, SQL injection, path traversal, and code injection. Because confirmed CVSS scores are not provided for each entry, teams should not infer safety from an incomplete score. Restrict administrative endpoints, remove unnecessary internet exposure, deploy web application firewall rules, monitor cold fusion process behavior, and apply vendor guidance immediately when fixes become available. Podlove Podcast Publisher through version 4.5.1 contains CVE 2026 13001, an unauthenticated arbitrary file upload vulnerability. An attacker may use the upload path to place a web shell and compromise the underlying WordPress installation. Update or remove the plugin, restrict upload capabilities, inspect web directories for recently created scripts, and review administrator accounts and outbound connections. Adobe Experience Manager Vulnerabilities CVE 2026 48259 and CVE 2026 48359 permit server side request forgery and XML external entity attacks. These weaknesses may expose internal services, local files, metadata endpoints, or, depending on deployment conditions, paths toward code execution. Egress filtering and strict parser configuration can reduce impact while patching proceeds. Microsoft Dynamics NAV CVE 2026 55944 and Microsoft Windows Remote Desktop Client CVE 2026 54990 are described as unauthenticated, network exploitable remote code execution issues. Apply available Microsoft updates rapidly, remove unnecessary network exposure, restrict remote administration to hardened jump hosts, and monitor for anomalous process creation and lateral movement. The same exposure reduction principle applies to SharePoint vulnerabilities CVE 2026 32201, CVE 2026 45659, and CVE 2026 56164. For every affected platform, confirm asset ownership, identify internet facing instances, validate patch status, and document compensating controls. Patch records without verification are not evidence of remediation. Three actions should guide the next operational cycle. First, inventory and externally scan SonicWall SMA 1000, ColdFusion, SharePoint, Adobe Experience Manager, WordPress with Podlove, Dynamics Nav, remote desktop clients, Langflow, and router assets. Then prioritize internet facing and production critical systems. Second, contain exposure immediately by restricting management interfaces, disabling Cisco Smart Install, enforcing unique SNMP version 3 credentials, applying available patches, and using isolation or web application firewall controls where patches are unavailable. Third, begin the passkey migration program now while also rebuilding systems affected by the async API compromise, rotating exposed secrets and validating recovery and degraded operation plans for critical suppliers. Maintain continuous hunting for Boript grab indicators, fake repositories, GAFKey payloads, malicious package behavior, anomalous OAuth applications, and unauthorized network configuration changes. Security teams should connect vulnerability intelligence to business impact, identity telemetry, supply chain evidence, and resilience testing. The organizations best positioned for the next wave of exploitation will not be those with the longest patch lists. They will be those that can identify critical exposure quickly, contain it decisively, and continue operating when a trusted platform or supplier fails. This is Argus IQ signing off.